Hello, everyone. This is Robert Landau, podcast creator of the 5-Minute Life Changer podcast. I really appreciate you being with me on this episode. If you don't already know me, I'm originally from New York City, was an actor for many years, then an international cruise director for many more years, and now I'm a national motivational speaker and certified life coach that works with people via Zoom from all over the world. What an episode topic I have for you today. The episode topic is how to never be lonely again. Now, if you think about it, that's a pretty tall order, isn't it? I want you to understand something. Loneliness. And I don't even like that word. I'm not into labels, actually, because they kind of put a stamp on things. They put a stamp on you. They put a stamp on me. But let's talk about that topic. It was the great Betty White that, when she was interviewed by Barbara Walters, said, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. I want you to think about that for a minute. Why does being alone have to automatically equate itself with being lonely? Being alone is what's going on in the present for many, maybe even you. But do you have to be lonely? Maybe that's the next step in not a great direction. Maybe that word, loneliness, being lonely, that statement has somewhat of an emotional energy to it. You can be alone and know that there's nothing wrong with that. But when you start to get lonely, be aware of it, because I always say that accomplishing a goal, defeating an emotional issue begins with 80% awareness. So realize, feel, know that you are feeling lonely, but then the other 20% of solving the issue is getting up and doing something about it. So do something. Make the choice, because it is a choice, to do something to where you will not feel and think you are lonely any longer. And what does that mean? Call a friend. Go out for a meal, see a movie, listen to your favorite song, go to a party, go for a walk, go to the gym. The list can be endless. The worst thing you can do when you think you're lonely is to feel it and milk it. We're human beings, we're emotional, we tend to do that, right? But it's a choice. Let me tell you something. You are never alone. You may feel that way, but you are never alone. You can be lonely, which is fine, but make the choice to be lonely up to a certain point. Put yourself on a dating site. Again, the lists are long. So, I want to tell you a story about a passenger that I met on one of the ships I worked on as a cruise director. 12-day cruise, exotic Asia, and I kept noticing that this wonderful lady was single. She was alone. And as the cruise progressed, I began to sense that she felt that she was all alone. She would go to the shows alone. She would sit there and looked like she was feeling sad. She would go on all the shore excursions alone. There was just some energy of sadness about her. So I went up to her one night before one of the shows began, and I said, "Hello, you know me. I'm Robert, your cruise director. I've got a personal question to ask you, and please don't be angry. Are you okay? Are you feeling okay?" And right at that moment, she burst into tears and she goes, "Well, thank you for asking. It's really nice to know that somebody cares, but yeah, I'm really having a terrible time on this cruise because I'm here alone. I was sent here by my family and I really didn't want to be here and I'm just not having a good time." And I said to her, "Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that, but I want you to know that, as long as this cruise is, and we've got about 4 more days left of it, you are not going to be alone. because whether you like it or not, I'm going to assign every member of my crew staff to check on you, to be with you, to walk and talk with you from time to time. Let me tell you something. You're never alone, and you don't have to feel lonely unless you choose to. Is that okay with you? And she said, well, okay. Well, let me tell you something. She got off that ship the last day of the cruise, floating on air. And as she was leaving the ship, I was on the gangway saying goodbye to all the passengers. And she looked at me and she said, Robert, thank you. You and your wonderful staff taught me a major lesson. Loneliness is a choice. And when I feel lonely, I don't have to necessarily stay there. It's up to me to get up and do something about it. In my case, it was socialize with you and your wonderful staff who showed me how much people can care for me if I let them do that. Moral of the story, you are never alone. And when you start to feel lonely, be aware of it. And if it's really an issue, if it really makes you sad like that lady on the ship, get up and do something about it. You are so worth it, aren't you? This has been Robert Landau with the 5-Minute Life Changer podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're never alone, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, if you resonated with it, please give the video a like. And also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date with all the motivation I will continue to share with you. Thank you.